In example one, we're looking at finding where the error is. So Chantal made a mistake in her simplification of 3a to the power 5 to the power negative 2 over a to the power 4. So one of the big things that we have to be careful of is this application of the power to both multiplicative terms. Okay, so each part of that multiplication needs to have that power applied. Okay, so let's take a look at her steps. So the first step was she used the negative power to put this expression here, this part here, into the denominator. And that's perfectly okay. She just changed that from negative exponent to a positive exponent. Applying the power to both the 3 and the 2, and the a to the power 5. That's correct. She applied the power 3 to the power 2. She did the calculation, got 9. Here, power to power, she added those powers to get a to the power 7. This is where the mistake is being made, because this power to power should be not addition, but multiplication. And then the last step here, just combining those two powers. Okay, there's also a mistake there in that if we're combining powers by multiplication, we count the powers or add the powers. Here, the powers were multiplied. So just highlighting the two errors. This one here, so this power here, okay, is a mistake to there. And the other mistake is when we combine those two powers into that power. Okay, so the mistakes are going to be which step contains your first mistake. Well, that's going to be step 3. There are two mistakes, okay, but the first mistake happens going from step 2 to step 3. So for example 2, we want to simplify these exponential expressions. So taking a look at the first one, what we're going to do is apply this power to power first, and I'm also going to do 2 steps in here. I'm going to put this power into the denominator. So for a, I'm going to apply that power to power, so I get a to the power negative 2 to the power negative 3. That's a double negative, so that's a double divide. That becomes multiplication in the numerator. And that x to the power negative 2, we're going to show that in the denominator as positive 2. And then I'm also going to work this out for x squared y squared. Okay, so I've done 3 steps there. Maybe should just highlight that. Okay, so this part here, we're going to do in blue. Okay, and this becomes 4x squared y squared. Okay, so then at this point we can just start combining the powers. I'm going to do the y's with y's. So I have 6 times 2 divides, so I'm going to end up with y to the power 4 on top. That 4 stays on bottom, x squared times x squared. I add those two powers together, and I'm going to end up with x to the power 4. Okay, so there's my final answer, and I can apply negative powers to that 4, put it in the numerator, but it's better to keep it as positive powers. Okay, so this one here, we're going to apply this negative power into that bracket, and I'm also going to do that the same here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with that negative power first and put that whole thing into the denominator. Okay, now there's many ways we can do this, but that's how I'm going to approach it. So the first thing I'm going to do is apply that power into the brackets. So I end up with divide, divide, which is multiply in the numerator. This becomes negative 6 because we have power 3, power negative 2. We're going to combine that to power negative 6. For the next part here, I'm going to put that expression as 2y squared, and I'm going to apply that negative and make that a positive 3. So I've put that into the denominator. And then for this next part here, what I'm going to do is I'll do this in maybe green. I'm just going to apply that power into, both terms. So I have x to the power 6, power to power we multiply, y to the power 3. Okay, so I'm going to start combining the denominator terms, and I'm going to deal with that negative as well. So I'm going to have this one negative power that I'm going to deal with. So I'm just going to leave the numerator as x squared. That power negative 6 I'm going to put down here as y to the power positive 6. Okay, so and maybe I'll just highlight that. This expression here ends up there. I'm going to apply the power into the bracket, so I have 2 to the power 3, which is 8. Y to the power 2 to the power 3, power to power we multiply. And then I have x6y cubed. Okay, so I'm going to work out the denominator first, and then I'm going to cancel out the common x's. So x squared over 8, I count up all those y's, 6, 12, 15, and then x to the power 6. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this in a different order, but basically all the times in the numerator cancel out. So I just have 1. I'm going to end up with 8. We have 4 extra x's in the denominator, then y to the power 15 in the denominator.